Welcome, warrior of the unseen realms. They say that the greatest battles are not fought with swords, but with the choices we make in the face of the impossible. The unseen war is waged not in the open, but in the hidden spaces where fate and free will collide. Every story has a beginning, but not every beginning is what it seems. Not all who walk in darkness belong to it, and not all who stand in the light are truly free. Tonight, we step into a tale that bends the very fabric of fate, where a demon was sent to end a chosen one, but instead found something more terrifying than destruction: love. A force that should have been impossible for a creature of darkness, yet against all logic, it took root. If you think destiny can't be rewritten, stay with me. But before we dive into this story, make sure to subscribe, because here we uncover the truths the world doesn't want you to see. The assassin had existed for millennia. He was not bound by the constraints of human time, nor was he subject to the fragility of mortal existence. He had been there when civilizations fell, when kings were toppled, when the cries of the forsaken echoed into the void. There was no hesitation in him, no question of purpose. He was sent to destroy, and he did so with ruthless efficiency. Until now. This mission was supposed to be like any other. His orders were clear: eliminate the chosen one, leave nothing behind, and return to the darkness that birthed him. He had carried out similar tasks countless times, erasing those who posed a threat to the balance of power. The chosen ones were rare, but not impossible to eliminate. And yet, something about this one was different. The moment he laid eyes on them, a shift occurred. It was not a hesitation. Demons do not hesitate, but something unspoken, an awareness that clawed at the edges of his mind. The chosen one did not cower, did not tremble in fear, as so many before had. Instead, they met his gaze with something foreign, something that made the air feel too thick to breathe: recognition. This was not a typical target. This was not someone who would fall easily. And worse yet, there was something familiar about them, something that stirred memories he should not have had. Memories that should not exist in a creature like him. The chosen are not like the rest of humanity. They are marked, not in a way that can be seen by mortal eyes, but in a way that the forces of darkness cannot ignore. They carry something ancient within them, something that even the most malevolent entities instinctively fear. It is not just light. It is defiance in its purest form, an existence that cannot be touched by corruption. When the demon locked eyes with the chosen one, something primal within him recoiled. It was not fear, not in the way mortals understand it, but something deeper, something older. A memory buried beneath centuries of servitude. The feeling of standing before something that was not supposed to exist, something that defied the very nature of his being. He had seen angels before, had battled warriors of divine order, had crushed those who foolishly stood in his way. But this was different. The chosen one was not wielding a weapon, not casting down fire from the heavens. They were simply there, and yet their presence was enough to make the foundations of his existence tremble. He should have ended it then. One strike, one swift motion, and it would be over. But he didn't. For the first time, something stopped him. A force unseen, unspoken. A realization that in this moment, he was standing at the precipice of something far more dangerous than death. This was not just a mission anymore. This was something else. Something that should not be. Love was never part of the prophecy. The mission was simple: eliminate, erase, and return. There was no room for hesitation, no space for questioning orders. The demon was created for one purpose: to obey, to destroy, and to serve the darkness. Yet, in the presence of the Chosen One, the very foundation of his existence began to fracture. He had seen mortals weep in terror before him. He had seen them beg, seen them try to fight back, seen them crumble beneath the sheer weight of his presence. But this one did none of those things. The Chosen One stood before him, unafraid, unwavering. And it was in that stillness that something shifted. Demons do not feel. They do not experience longing, pain, or remorse. At least that was what he had always believed. But standing there, facing the Chosen One, something unfamiliar coiled in his chest. It was not fear, not confusion, something deeper. A pull, an awareness, as though a forgotten truth was surfacing after centuries of being buried beneath shadows. It was impossible. He had no heart, no soul to be stirred. And yet, the presence of the Chosen One was like a whisper in the void, a call to something long lost. He had spent his existence extinguishing light, and now he was drawn to it. It was wrong. It was against everything he had ever known. And yet, he did not turn away. Every demon serves a master, but what happens when the chains start to break? For all their power, demons are not free. They are bound, shackled by the will of those who created them. They are tools, weapons, forces of destruction. But what happens when a weapon begins to think? When it begins to question? The demon could feel it happening. The presence of the Chosen One was doing something to him, unraveling the fabric of his existence, turning certainty into doubt. His master's voice still echoed in his mind, cold and unyielding, commanding him to complete his task. But another voice, one he had never known before, was beginning to rise within him. It was not defiance, not yet, but it was the first step toward it. The chains that had bound him for centuries did not break all at once. They cracked, subtly at first, hairline fractures in the foundation of his servitude. He could still feel the weight of his orders, the undeniable pull to obey. But something else was growing, something that his kind had always been warned against, a will of his own. It should have terrified him. It should have sent him into a spiral of rage, of destruction, anything to silence the voice growing inside him. But instead, he found himself standing there, staring at the Chosen One, unable to move, unable to complete his task. Demons do not hesitate, but he did. Not all forbidden love stories are tragic. Some rewrite the destiny of entire realms. But with love came a new danger, the wrath of those who ruled the underworld. A demon defying his master was unheard of. It was not just rebellion. It was a declaration of war against the very forces that had shaped him. He had spent centuries believing that demons could not change, that they were what they were, unshaped by time, unchallenged by doubt. But now, the presence of the Chosen One had shattered that illusion. The darkness within him was no longer absolute. It was being rewritten, transformed into something unrecognizable. And with that transformation came consequences. The underworld does not tolerate weakness. It does not allow its creations to stray from their purpose. The moment he faltered, the moment he hesitated, he became a target. A weapon that no longer functioned as intended was not left to rust. It was destroyed. His own kind turned against him, seeking to erase him before he could fall any further. But the Chosen One did not abandon him. Where others would have fled, where even angels would have deemed him beyond saving, the Chosen One remained. And that was the greatest betrayal of all. Not his defiance, not his refusal to kill, but the fact that someone believed he could be more than what he was created to be. The world believes chosen ones wield divine weapons, command legions, and call fire from the heavens. But the greatest power of the chosen one was something far more radical: the ability to change even the darkest soul. It was not a fight of blades. It was a battle of transformation. The chosen one did not fight with steel or fire, but with something infinitely more dangerous. They offered something that had been absent from his existence since the beginning of time: choice. A choice to be more than a servant of destruction. A choice to step beyond the chains that had bound him. A choice to become something he had never imagined possible. And in the end, that was more terrifying than death. Because if he could choose, if he could truly change, then everything he had ever known was a lie. Not every battle is fought with armies. Not every war is won with blood. Sometimes the most powerful victories come in the quiet moments, where one soul refuses to bow, and another dares to believe in something greater than themselves. What do you think? Was this fate or rebellion against it? Before you go, subscribe, because the war between light and darkness is far from over, and you don't want to miss what comes next. Until next time, stay vigilant.